To the Life School MasterClass show, where 6 and 7-figure CEOs build their purpose-driven legacy businesses through proven branding, marketing, and sales strategies so that they don't have to sacrifice their income and happiness for their mission. Thanks for watching the Life School Masterclass show. Join our Facebook group community of badass mission-driven entrepreneurs, and come back next week same place and time for our upcoming show.
Hello everyone. Welcome back to another show. I hope you're having a great, fabulous Tuesday so far. We are here again with another amazing conversation, another amazing guest from our community. And we're going to be speaking about navigating the empty nester phase that a lot of, especially women, go through with Noelle Peterson. Noelle, thank you so much for finding time to join me on our show today. And I'm looking forward to everything that you will have to share regarding this topic and so much more regarding the work that you're doing in the world.
Well, thanks for having me, Alona. It's great to share with your audience.
It's an absolute pleasure. So let's start with an introduction, a little background of who you are for the audience so they get to know you a little bit better.
So I am a mother of two. My kids are 23 and 26 now. They've moved off and are creating their own lives. We started off as missionaries in 1999 when my son was born in Costa Rica, and we lived for 10 years in South America. I worked through different scenarios and always took on roles that were what was needed. I never took the time to figure out what I wanted to be when I grow up, and I just did whatever job was necessary. After 10 years on the field, we came home, and my husband was the outreach pastor at our church. And I also helped out in the church office for a few years, and then I worked in state government. It was always whatever role fell in my lap, what was needed at the time. And until recently, I didn't take the time to figure out who I am and what I'm supposed to do in this world. I've spent many years guiding other women through their situations, through HR issues at work or family relationships, and just trying to help everybody have a better life. And we are here for a reason. I've spent the last 4 years researching and reading and understanding life and coaching, and just that we are here for a purpose. We all have our own value, and there's not anything out there that you can't do. Whether you know what to do or not, you can't say that it's already been done, because nobody is you, and nobody else has the uniquenesses that you do. So my goal is to help women figure out their role and who they are, so they can make a difference in their world and their circle that they were set here on this earth to do.
I love that. So what do you feel, Noelle, is the thing that stops most women? Because women is your client base, and that's who you mostly work with, based on, I guess, also you understanding, what that journey looks like personally. But what do you find is the major roadblocks that women hit as they're trying to detach their roles from their own personal, unique, authentic, power, let's call it that way? What are some of the things that you've seen?
We as women tend to just take on what the society desires us to do. Our husbands, our family, work, all set these expectations on us. And it's the common analogy in when you go on a flight, that they always tell you to make sure you're putting that oxygen mask on your child first. Why? Because if you do your child first, you might not have enough air to remember to do your own. We've got to take care of us. And there are many situations where in life, especially as women, change our perspective, our role. We change our name, we get married, we go off to college, we're in this relationship or that relationship, we have this job or that job, and mom, stepmom, and our roles change constantly. And we don't take time to make sure we're taking care of us. Who are we? What are we here for? What is my focus? One of the things I like to help women work on is their boundaries. If your values and your goals are in this direction, but this other idea, this opportunity comes in over here, it's okay to say no because it doesn't align with who you are. But if we don't know who we are and who our values are and what we're supposed to do, we're going to try and help everybody because we can. But it's okay to say no because you're not meant to do that. There's other people in the world that can as well. And we all have different gifts for a reason.
Yeah, I mean, that's some beautiful work, really, helping women clarify and really stand in their own power and develop their own value system and really separate what has been, sold to us or, brought on as programming from our environment, our parents, society, all of that, because all of that has really had a lot of impact in our character and the decisions we make today and the choices we make. So really holding that space for them to navigate that clarity. And as I always say, clarity is power. That could translate into so many other things in their lives. So thank you so much for sharing that. That is absolutely a lot of times. I know personally what has it's a work in progress. There's always so much more. Like I guess everything that you want to do in life, there's always like new layers of limits, fears, things that it's like, wait a minute, like things to challenge, as I say, like, where did that come from? Is that like mine? Or is that something that I've heard? Or, why do I do what I do? So I think we're constantly in this mode of, as you grow, of questioning things and really comparing them to that value system. I think it's really, really important. So Noelle, with empty nesting, I haven't reached this phase yet. My kids are still 15 and 12. However, I do hear that, there's some things that come up in this phase. So what do you feel is women need to know as they might be in this phase or they might be approaching it? I'm all ears to really understand what are some of the most common things that happen for women that they might need support to navigate.
I mean, and it's some of it's preparation, some of it, we're all either going to be or have been in that situation. But it's being prepared and acknowledging that we are human beings. We are an individual. We have just as much right to live the life that we desire as anybody else. We as moms want our kids to be all they can be, right? We're encouraging them to grow up and be smart and learn and lots to figure out who they are and mold them and influence them and shape them, just as our parents did us. But why is it when we become moms, we forget that? We need to remember who we were as a child. What did you want to be when you grew up? Do you remember?
Oh, me personally, a teacher.
And here you are. You're able to use that. And I kind of feel like we may not know exactly what we want to be when we grow up, but we kind of put it into a situation or a role that, this sounds like what I want to do. I mean, I wanted to be a stewardess. I started going to school for travel agent. And I ended up being a missionary and a missionary wife and a pastor's wife and get to travel. And now I get to travel for work. And I'm not sure I want to be a stewardess now, but I love the idea of travel and how you can mold that into who you are at your core to be able to be that great person. We all grow up with limiting beliefs, these things that are planted in our programming when we're young that may or may not be of value to us. And we do, like you said, we need to evaluate that based on who we are and what we know now. And is that belief, is that thought process helping us or hurting us? One of my focuses is reprogramming the malware. I mean, our computers get that malware, our phones, they have the commercials for, Google Chrome now, but our minds have malware. The poor statements that are ingrained in us that we may or may not have received appropriately or accurately, but are hurting us really because it's not helping us grow in the areas that we need to. And we need to work on those reprogramming.
Yeah, absolutely. There's a lot of deep work that is needed for sure. It's not as simple as, just understanding it. Is every day going at it. And as I said, questioning a lot of these different things. Noelle, with empty nester phase, I find that maybe if moms or women, as moms especially, I know this is one of our missions in life, to empower our kids, to make them independent, to raise kids that are smart in life, as I say. I mean, at least that's kind of what my goal has been. And we try to better, every generations, we try as parents to better from our parents due to the lack of, resources or information or whatever might have you. So I find that, a lot of moms that have attached themselves to the role of child raising and putting all their energy and also deriving sometimes their contribution to the world or their worth through parenting might have some trouble when kids move out of the house, they're doing their own thing, they're independent. I mean, logically, we know that's a good thing for them, but I think emotionally, we kind of, that unravels a lot of conflict within us. And especially if we have put all our energy into them for so many years, then you just feel empty. I guess that's where that comes from. Empty nester, like empty emotionally. So you might have some crisis or conflict over what is the next thing that I need to do. So, what do you think about that? How do you find that in your work?
Yeah, I mean, we do have empty, and it is a hole that gets left in ways. But if you can prepare or process through the situation and work on who you are and how you're supposed to be living out in this world, it's not necessarily an easy transition, but it gives you something to do. You have to have a purpose. You have to have a reason to get up in the morning besides making the kids breakfast. You need something to do in the day besides take care of the kids. We need to be functioning as human beings, as adults, as women, outside of those roles, so that our purpose and our reason, our why, gets us moving, gets us motivated, and it's not changed by the kids not being home. I mean, the kids are going to move out, and it's just what it is. We also need to work on understanding that we still have influence. We may not be parenting. We may not be giving direction, because they're not, after a certain age, those teenagers don't like listening to mom and dad anymore. Mm-hmm. But we still can influence them, especially when they get to be adults and they understand and believe in our worth as an influencer. They come to us for questions. They come to us seeking that advice. We can help guide them continually through the life and through their situations. We don't actually have to be this is what you need to do. You're going to school today. They need to learn to do that on their own. The kids need to learn how to be adults, and we need to allow them that space to grow and be the human beings that they're supposed to be. But you can keep in your back pocket. I still have if you have the right relationship, you can have that ability to influence them, and you have to have that relationship where they're not going to listen. So you still need to be involved enough and care, but you need to have a why that gets you up in the morning. That's not the kids.
Absolutely. We switch positions from parenting to consultants. I say now, I'm also in the preteen phase, so I could see the change for sure. And advice doesn't work. Role modeling is the best way. If we want them to do something, we just need to show it. That's really as simple as that. And being emotionally connected to them so that we can influence them, so that they can trust us and they can stay open. I think it's really, really important, the emotional aspect of things. And it's so healthy, I think, because I'm also in a 20-year long, relationship. I'm married for that many years. And I also find that a woman that has purpose is also much better and happier in her, relationship with her partner, because she has something else that she's working towards, or has another community of maybe women or like-minded people that she's working towards, or maybe a business or a project. I always say, whatever works, it doesn't matter. So I think you come in with a lot of fullness because you get a lot of fulfillment out of all these other things, and you are just fuller to bring in, more things inside your family. So not only contribute financially, but also contribute emotionally. I think that's really the most important part. Noelle, I would be curious to know, what is your individual framework that you work with your clients, and what do you feel makes you different from someone else that might be helping women go through transitions?
My history is in definitely in the Christian church. I have 20 plus years experience working with women in different cultures, in different scenarios. And I work with my husband very closely. Most of our coaching is together, where we bounce ideas and conversations off each other to get ideas and help work through the situations. But my background of being 20 years in ministry, I think gives me a different perspective than some of the other coaches that are out there. But my goal is to help women find themselves, and I want to come alongside them and guide them through the situation. I'm not going to do anything for anybody. That's not how life gets done. That's not how we improve. But we need to understand who we are in our core and what our goal is and who we are, why we get up in the morning to make those decisions moving forward. My Dream Life Planner book starts off with, why are we here and how are we doing this thing? And what is my purpose? What is my goal? What is my driving force to help me figure out my vision? And then working through the steps to get there. Because there's always a gap with where we are and where we want to go, right? There's a reason. And if our life was complete, if we were all who we were supposed to be, why are we here? So there's still something that we need to learn. We all have stuff to grow. And having somebody to walk through with you is the ideal. I mean, mentors that have guided me through my years are vital. And I don't know that I can grow on my own. I need somebody to help me. And one of the visions or perspectives my husband and I like to say is that, we end up being in a box or in a jar with the labels on the outside, right? With the instructions. And if you're inside, you can't see what you need to do. You can't see what's going on. You can't see how to build the story. So us as coaches come alongside to read what's on the outside of the box, give you a different perspective, see it from a different viewpoint, and help you make those steps. Because we often get blindsided, and we put these blinders on and we can't see anything except what we want to see, which, if insanity, you're doing the same thing over and over, it's going to get you the same results, right?
It's blindsided, by default, right? Because that's just how we can filter it through our own perception and our own world, right? So we do need other people to sometimes depict that bigger vision for us, which we can't do for ourselves. Because that's also what I found from my work, Noelle, that we always can't see our greatness. We just need someone else to hold up the mirror so that they always see more for us than we see for ourselves. And that's actually the biggest, sometimes how I feel with, potential clients or people. It's like, I see it, but they don't see it. So it's like, if they don't see it, they're not going to do something about it. So it's this whole education part of, helping people believe in themselves and manifest, create their purpose and all of that good stuff, and build a business out of it, or become an entrepreneur, or whatever other path, really, right? So beautiful work. So I'm assuming you attract a lot of couples, because you said you do this with your husband. So I think that's definitely something value add for you as well. And tell me a little bit about this planner. What is the logic behind the planner, and what is the framework, so people understand a little bit more regarding its creation and how to use it?
Yeah, so it is Dream Life Planner, moving from tired and overwhelmed to free and empowered. It is a very small book, but it is a workbook. It is not something that you get on Kindle or Audible and you listen to. It is a workbook. And it came about because at the beginning of the year, into last year, my husband had printed off some worksheets from somebody else to help you figure out your resolutions or your goals or your word or whatever you want to look at for the next year. And I'm sitting at the dining room table trying to work through these worksheets. And with each one, I was complaining. I had issues. It was just the lack of instruction, or typos here, whatever it was. I was just frustrated, and I wasn't getting the results that I wanted from those worksheets. And so my husband looked at me one day and just said, then make your own. And I was like, oh, wait, you can do that? That's an option? So I sat down every weekend, and we had gone through many workbooks. We've gone through, John Maxwell books and Jim Quick's Limitless, and, all sorts of other tools to help us be better entrepreneurs. And so I took everything that we've learned and all the content in my head and just trying to remember everything and just piece it together. And I put together this book to have what I felt was clear instruction and an orderly fashion to help somebody work through where they're at and what they want to work on, and the steps that they can take in the coming season to make their dream come true. So it's 52 pages with all the intro and everything, but it's probably like 20 activities. But it's an action book to help you actually sit down and think through, what are you doing? Where do you want to go? Is it a business? Is it an entrepreneur? Is it, leaving your job because you want to do this or that? And what is it? What is your dream? And I encourage everybody to be very specific in your dream. Don't think I want to travel the world, or I want a new car, or I want to have $1 million in the bank. Be very specific, because the universe cares about what you want. Is if you're gonna want a Lincoln Aviator, or a Lincoln Navigator is the other one that's on my dream board. Be specific. I want a blue Lincoln Aviator with 7 seats, and I want it by December of 23, whatever it is. Because if you know that you're working towards a specific goal, your conscious, your subconscious, and the universe are going to be working towards that goal. But if you just put it out there as, I want $1 million, that's not specific. There's no steps that that you need to take to get there. So build that dream board, but be very specific about what you want.
Oh, I love that. And I love that the planner gives people clarity, because I have a similar journal, and that's how what I found the need. I found a need for people to not just in theory read about things, but also do their own work. And sometimes the questions I'm sure that you're asking in there, based on what you've learned you didn't have before, are going to stimulate, our visions and the things that we want to create. And once they go down on paper, and as you said, be as specific as you can, it really starts that process for you. Don't you have to love the husbands. That resonated with me, because mine did the same thing when I wanted to go from corporate to entrepreneurship. I said, I don't like this. I don't like this. I could do this better. I could do that better. And he's like, why don't you just start your own thing? And it's like, whoa, oh yeah, I could do So I love them for the practicality and the logical side of things. I think us women, sometimes we just think too much, and we're overcomplicate things. So that was really funny that you shared that with the journal. He's like, or planner, he's like, why don't you just create your own? And there you are talking about it. And it's an important tool that you give people to help them with those that clarity that they're looking for. Noelle, we have reached the end of our interview. It was lovely. I learned a lot from the interview. I'm sure that our audience and the community, whether they're watching this live or on replay, are going to get a lot of amazing nuggets from everything you shared. Where is it that people can find you and continue this journey with you?
On social media, I'm on Facebook and LinkedIn at Into R2 Peterson. And my website's empower2dream with the number 2.com.
Awesome. And it's also on the screen. So guys, go check out Noelle. Noelle, thank you again. Thanks for everything you shared. And thank you for being with us today. And guys, I also want to remind you that we have an amazing event next week, September 19, and I'm teaching my framework, my foundational framework to building a legacy business as big as you want it for more impact and income. The links are going to be right underneath this interview, and you are able to grab a seat there as well, as is going to be a closed door on Zoom. Thank you so much, and have a beautiful rest of your Tuesday. Bye, everyone. Bye, Noelle.
Thanks, Alana.